We are live now for everybody who I've notified about live. We are live now. Welcome back to the Let Us Become Sharper slash TNS podcast. And it's a beautiful thing. Glad to be here with you again. It's a beautiful day today outside. And I just wanted to come in and, it was podcast time. It was time to go on the air. So here we are now, uh, safe and sound. Let us become sharper slash TNS podcast. The title, let us become sharper is becoming a big thing. It's the mantra and the credo that was created by many years of working in the barber industry. I went around my city, Detroit, Metro Detroit, Greater Detroit, run around my city, and I actually had the opportunity to go and meet a lot of the barbers, stylists, and actually had the what I want to say greater than the opportunity, almost a luxury to go inside of the shops and actually see the it's almost like a cheat code, almost see the workings of what that industry does. And I've met a ton of barbers and a ton of stylists and self-employed people, henceforth bringing me to the credo, let us become sharper. The TNS stands for the Thursday Night Society, and that is the brotherhood that is established on Thursday night at 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. We do that weekly. We coined it as the weekly holiday, and that's that. So I just wanted to come in today and talk to you guys. We got a lovely we got something I got something issue that I want to speak of here shortly. But just moving along, this podcast for me has been like a journey. It's a journey for I was thinking about it the other day in the car, just riding and just really trying to feel out, where what place does the podcast hold in the world, and where am I going with this thing? And I came up with a few answers, and I really kind of got it nailed, got it perfected. I really realized that this has been a journey, and that journey has been for optimism. We go to the mission statement. Many years ago, I created a business, and I had a relative come in from Colorado, Denver, Colorado, and he's actually set up. He set up my business. He structured my business for me, and within that business model, we created past the mission statement, of course, a mission statement, but uh we created a lifestyle almost of the business. And that is something that I've always carried with me. That's something that I've always kept with me distinctly to use in every facet of life. So, thinking back, reflecting on that, I landed at the conclusion that this podcast is a journey for me, a journey for optimism. And that journey has been going very well. It's been very interesting. It's been very enlightening, to me, especially for me and for my panel. We're rolling solo today, but we have the panel, and yeah, that's what it's been. It's been a journey for optimism. The topics, the subject matter and topics that we create, each one has served as a destination. Each topic is a destination, and we are traveling to many interesting destinations through our journey, which is the Let Us Become Sharper podcast. And as we become sharper on this mission, as we navigate on our journey, we actually are becoming sharper. So when I put the mission out there, that we're going all over with this thing. We want to enlighten. We want to bring a heightened state of culture to our people, to the ones who support us and the ones that we ultimately serve. So that's the mission here, the purpose, of this podcast is to overturn pessimism. Pessimism. There's some pessimistic people out there, and it's some real crazy situations. I've been looking on social media. I've been looking at the news, and just in everyday conversation, you hear it, and it's like, wow, man. It's just it could be a downer, but I don't believe in things being a downer. I don't believe in just letting things just run wild. Someone has to have some type of resistance to it. And I think this podcast serves as that. So, we're overturning pessimism and we're instituting optimism. That's the purpose. That's the reason why we come into this beautiful studio and talk on these microphones and cameras. And that's the purpose for me. So, for all you who don't know, my name is CJ. I've been a barber my whole life, moving on, transitioning into media, coming along with this podcast, this beautiful show, Let Us Become Sharper. So, normally we cook up in the kitchen. Got my group. I have Shay, I have Nina, I have Reno, and we have other guests from time to time. But today, I had to fly solo. So I reflected on the weekend, which it was Father's Day weekend. My Father's Day was beautiful. I hope that everybody else, all the fathers out there, was beautiful. As beautiful as Mother's Day is. I hope that Father's Day was equally as enjoyable for the fathers out there. I actually went to a nice restaurant. I got took out. Let me slow down. I was taken out to a nice dinner, and I saw one of my partners actually in the parking lot of the restaurant, and we chopped it up for me. He had his sons and my kids are getting a little older now, so they text and I come see them. They come see me. My son had to work. It's just they didn't got grown on me, but they always take time to acknowledge father, acknowledge daddy, and I think that was a beautiful thing. But I went to a restaurant. I sat there, and like I said, I'm always reflecting. Even when I'm not physically working, my mind is always working. And I was in the restaurant, and I just felt like, my mind was going and I was coming up with something that I felt was interesting as I walk on my journey. I came up with a topic. And the topic that I landed at, it was based on the last podcast. You would go check it out. We were talking about, do two eyes make a we? So basically, let me break that down a little bit. You have you and you have me as two people. But does that equal we? And the answers that were given were, I won't say that I was surprised by these answers, but the answers that they gave, they were interesting. You should go back and check it out. I actually edit this thing, so I'll put some clips from that particular segment, that particular episode, and you can see the answers. And then they call it compare and despair. So yeah, the answers were different, but like I say, my answer to that is I don't believe in you and me if we're together. We're talking from a relationship standpoint. Even in a very, very serious friendship or a committed entity, a committed thing, I believe that it's always we. I believe that it's always a team effort. I also believe, these are all my beliefs, all my opinions. I also believe that you get a lot farther with two like-minded individuals working for one goal. This is what I believe. This is my beliefs. So yeah, it's addressing that topic. Two eyes making a we. I agree that my take on it is it should always be we. That was the topic that we cooked up on the last podcast. But now I was at a restaurant and I was, cooking up my own topic. And I thought about it. I said, there's a destination we have to address where is talking about from an individual standpoint is looking out for yourself or putting yourself first being selfish? Are you being selfish by putting yourself first? And we also understand that we have consideration and we also have obligations and responsibilities for others. But if you put yourself first, if you look out for yourself, does that count you? Does that make you a selfish person? That's the question that I ask you. That's the become sharper for the day. If you are looking out for yourself, if you're building up yourself, if you're investing into yourself solely, just yourself, to take yourself to a higher level, is that being selfish? This is the question that I ask the people today, everybody live, everybody watching, anybody listening. This is the question that I ask. Now, I want to give my take on that, because I thought this through and this came about, like I said, last podcast, but I want to give my take on that. My take on that is this is how I feel. I feel that looking out for yourself, putting yourself first, investing in yourself, strengthening yourself is the only way. Now, it is true. We love our families, we love our friends, we have loved ones, we have people that we care for, but you can't give anything that you don't have. And you get a bold rap when you do a poor job of supplying, providing, and enabling and helping the people that you care for. But the root of that is a lot of the times you don't have it to give because you didn't invest into yourself, because you didn't strengthen yourself up to 100% to be able to give a large percentage. How can you give 100% when all you have is 50%, 25%, 40%? How can you give? How can you help? How can you be powerful enough to help someone else, guide someone else if you haven't invested first into yourself? That was my take on it. That's what I was we pondered, we talked about that, and the ladies that I have here, the phenomenal women that sit in with me on the panel, they were kind of on the fence about that, just speaking on Shay. Shay's a beautiful soul. She's a very phenomenal woman, Shay Wills, and she said that she was so used to putting people first that she had forgotten about investing into herself. That was a new concept for her. And I thought that's what I was thinking about when I was in that restaurant. I was in the restaurant. I was just like, man, I just couldn't imagine someone coming out of a shell, finally coming to a realization that they should be taking care of themselves and treating themselves as if they were special. But that was the thing. So that's my take on it. That's my view. I feel that you should always put a lot into yourself to get yourself motivated, keep yourself motivated, but to get yourself to a high level where you have the ability to help someone else. This is just my take on it. This is what I think. This is how I become sharper. So we navigate these topics and hopes to become sharper, become wiser, and to become more productive people, and ultimately more productive people will change the world and will actually shed a light, give a veil, a cover of optimism for other people to look at and say, hey, you know, I like what I'm seeing. I like what they're doing. So that's the nature of the show. That's the nature of the podcast and the reason why I come here today. So I want to talk to you a little bit further about my portfolio. I've been reflecting on that lately. When you use the word portfolio, people say, well, what does that mean? Let me break that down for you. So I've been going on a mission. Like I say, this podcast has been a journey, and my life itself has been a journey. So what I want to say about that is I've been reviewing my portfolio, and I'm actually going to give several testimonies, several excerpts of things that have happened to me along the way. And one of them that I want to highlight today was my mentor. My mentor in this game name was Ulysses. Ulysses was the one who came to my home when I was very, very young. I'm talking maybe 13, 14. Ulysses was the one that came to my home and gave me pointers, advice, tutelage, and wisdom on how to become a barber and actually how to succeed at that trade, at that craft, and become ultimately someone who has created income, a lifestyle, and a career from being a barber. So part of my portfolio, if there's no him, there's no me, is Ulysses, my mentor in this game, who when I first had the clippers in my hand showed me different things. For example, the Andes Master. So I had the Andes Master very, very young. By the way, sidebar, anybody who's a barber out there, I want to give you, I don't try to give y'all, I don't try to do that. Don't take me there. But I just want to give a little jury. I just want to give a little tidbit to you. By all means, if you do not own a pair of Andes Masters with a cord on them, not the wireless joints, with a cord on them, please do so. After you do so, if you haven't already, contact me and let us become sharper. Let's take those to the high level. The master is the cornerstone of all barber, and this is all my opinion. But you have to have the master. So when I was young, I was a collector. Even at that young age, I would every dollar that I got, I would go and purchase new items. I stayed in those beauty supplies. Stayed, it wasn't online then, so just stayed in the beauty supplies. Stayed at the where you purchase equipment from. I tried to get all of it, whatever I could afford at the time. And Ulysses was the one who recognized that I had the masters, and he told me if you have those, technically you can get rid of everything else. The masters is the key to the game. So I like to acknowledge Ulysses for being that person who gave me insight to understand the power of having such a tool. So going into my portfolio, that's what I speak on. I also want to talk about my amenities, Thursday night. Now, the name of the podcast is Let Us Become Sharper / TNS. TNS stands for the Thursday Night Society. One of my amenities is the Thursday Night Society. And, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have a brotherhood as such. What these guys do is they come to the shop at 7, and this is your opportunity to experience life with freedom as you should see it, without the restraints and the constrictions of day-to-day life. For example, you got a pair of shoes in your closet. You got a watch. You have a cologne. You have a fur coat. You have something that you haven't worn in a while, but you purchased it, or it was purchased for you, a gift. But you purchased it, but you don't wear it. You want to know why you don't wear it? Because you don't have any place to wear it to. You're so busy working, you're so busy grinding, you're so busy caught up into your routine that you forgot to take the top fashion shoes or luxury items or whatever it is, whatever it may be, what have you, out of the box from time to time and put it on so you can remind yourself, so you can become sharper, so you can see how fly you are. On Thursday night, that's the night that everybody pull the flares out. So you may see a guy with a fur coat, you might see a guy with his $1,000, $1,500 glasses. You might see these things and they come to the shop, and I'm still, I all I get out of the deal is work for real. But you see these guys come in and they enjoy themselves. They come in, they enjoy themselves, and we have a specific playlist. We have a specific mindset set on that particular evening where this is the night that we're going to show off a little bit. And we don't just sit at the shop. Normally, I get done early and then we leave and go out with these items on. So, this is what the Thursday night society is all about. People who don't elect to live this way or don't like to wear their items, you're still welcome, but it's a mindset. It's a I'm gonna make sure that I don't let 2 weeks and 3 weeks and a month go by without getting fresh. So Thursday is get fresh mandatory. That's every week, and that's what we do. And it's become this big thing because we have Thursday members in Atlanta, we have them in Bel Air, California, we have them in New York. So the Thursday night society is becoming a family and it's expanding. Some of the guys that used to come to the shop, they moved, but they still take the mentality with them. And we celebrate every week, even sometimes via FaceTime on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and it ends at 2 because we always respectable to our significant others, and we like to get in before, really before 2, but it ends at 2 in the morning. So I just want to outline the TNS, the Thursday Night Society, and for all the TNS brothers, I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you here on the podcast with me. We're gonna make arrangements to make that happen. So that's one of the amenities that I want to highlight here on the podcast. I've given you the topic, and I just want to take a brief moment to speak about my source of topics. We have a think tank that goes on Saturday mornings as well, 10 in the morning to 2 p.m. That's the Saturday morning topics with Tanisha T and Sheila. And these two phenomenal women have come in. I've been just blessed with a lot. These two phenomenal women come in, and Tanisha T creates a topic. Everybody comes in, and I'm telling you, everybody I come in contact with since its creation has been asking me, what's the topic? She creates those topics in the morning. Normally we have mimosa, champagne, mimosa, and donuts, and that goes on. It's more of an R&B type theme, and we have the think tank. We discuss that topic in the morning. So this is all part of my portfolio that I've created for the ultimate goal of achieving high level positive energy, high level optimism. So that's my thing, and that's what I do. And I come in here to speak with you guys today on the podcast live to outline those things and present them to you. So I thank you for coming in and listening. I thank you for tuning in for those who did. And I know, this will be on YouTube for those who don't catch it live. So I want to talk about my supporters. I can't close the podcast and I can't go any further without outlining my supporters, the people who pay, the people who help to keep my podcast going. All cash is verified. What that means is I verify and I acknowledge all of the monetary, okay, the monetary element, the monetary aspect of the people who give here and donate there and give here to say, okay, we like to keep the podcast going. I'd like to thank you and acknowledge you for the supporters and all of my clientele. It's a large body of clientele that I have that make it possible for me to do this. So I thank you all, and that's what I would like to say to you. So yeah, recap. I want you guys to ponder. I want you to converse amongst yourselves. I want you to think about it in your personal time. Is taking time, is shaping, investing, putting 100% into yourself, putting yourself first. Is that being selfish, or is it the opposite? Do you put everybody else before you and put yourself last? How does that work? Let me know. Put it in the comments. If you see me walking down the street, let's just stop me and let's talk about it. That's the topic that I wanted to put, the topic slash message. That's the topic and the message that I wanted to convey to you today. It's something that I've thought about and I've given my answer. I'm gonna invest into myself and get myself to a level of 100% so I can help everybody else adequately. That's what I'm going to do. But what are you going to do? Let's talk about it. Let's become sharper. Okay. So I'm glad that you guys sat in with me this evening. To all my phenomenal women out there, continue to be so. I give a message to my phenomenal women. I'll talk about that further next go round, but I wanted to, I always like to open the door for that for my phenomenal women, my women are uh who are doing positive things and great things. Maybe from time to time it seems like you don't get acknowledged by us men as you should. I'd like to also be a leader in that way and that right to step up and say thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your continued support, and just know and look forward for a bright future that will be there to help and support you. So that's the gist of it. That's the message for today. I will see you soon. Be safe out there, and let us become sharper.